Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the 2024 Euroformula Open Championship. We finally arrived back racing after a lengthy summer break in August. We've now arrived in September, where the weather has taken a slight chill. We're now down in air temperature to 10 degrees, though we have witnessed temperatures of 5 degrees through free practice. But nonetheless, it has been absolutely sensational to watch the cars back out and in amongst it. The spectators as well alike wrapping up warm for what I'm sure will be a truly spicy affair with some new faces and also some old ones coming onto the grid. Obviously, championship leader as it stands is Brad Benavides, who is in certainly sublime form right now. His form is definitely looking like one of a champion with he coming into this. He hasn't been outside the podium only once has that happened. Hockenheim race 3 is where, of course, Brad Benavides has not managed to clinch a podium. But other than that, it has been truly a reign of dominance up at the top. 321 points to the good, ahead of Francesco Simonazzi, down in second in the title race. But this could yet be a defining round in what could decide where that championship trophy is going. So the looks of it, though, on face value, it's going Benavides' way for the Floridian. George Morgan here, your commentator. Alongside me is Chris Stevens. Chris.
Yes, and it's not just the points, a slightly drier FP2 session yesterday. He topped both of them. 1:24.328 was the fastest time yesterday. Of course, new tyres being fitted now, so we might go slightly quicker than that. And the circuit is completely dry, as opposed to yesterday. We saw a lot of damp patches around the racetrack. So we will see if Brad Benavides can continue that strong form as our championship leader. But he's got two new drivers to have to try and fend off. There is one of them, Jose Garfias, in the number 99 car, the 19-year-old from San Luis Potosi in Mexico. And he's actually racing the chassis that Alex Garcias and No Leon raced as well. No Leon winning the championship. So that car's back in Mexican hands again. Been racing in Euro Cup 3, has Jose so far this year. And then we also have the number 95 of Ed Pearson as well, the 17-year-old Brit, joining us from the GB3 scene, making his European debut. Both of them have had a run at the Motorpark team base in Oschersleben, preparing for this weekend, and also plenty of laps in the sim, including running different rain levels in the sim as well. Of course, we anticipate a lot of rain so far this weekend. Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, there's many sources speculate that we could see a 100% chance of rain around 2 o'clock. Though even prior to that, 90% chances in other points throughout the day. So no doubt we could be thrown a twist in the tail come race time. But some brilliant news filtering through. Obviously, there's been quite the positive rumblings in the paddock concerning next year with the planned move to the Dallara 324 chassis away from the 320, which should open many new doors for new teams coming in. And obviously, off the back of that, with some minor changes cosmetically to the car, we say goodbye to the airbox, but nonetheless, we're going to be witnessing yet another fascinating Dallara chassis make its way out onto the track in the Euroformula Open Championship. And goodness me, many good vibes. Yeah, so 10 update kits have already been committed for next year. It's the same chassis, it's a different aero kit. So they've already been committed. They're going to be delivered in December, hopefully. And then the first batch of the brand spanking new 324s, that's almost been finalised, and that should be available at the start of next year. A lot of positive rumblings, as you say, George, about the grid for next year. Plenty of teams are interested in this. The new car that is also raced in the Japanese Superformula Lights Championship. We're using the same engine as well, the Tom's prepared Toyota engine, which might be smaller and have fewer cylinders than the current Spieth engine that most of the drivers are using, but it's got more power. Yeah. Plenty of pace still in the car, and obviously we continue with Pirelli tyres as well, which is going to be fascinating, alike as Francesco Simonazzi has some work taking place on his car prior to heading out again, swapping the tyres. That's interesting. Yeah, so I think they're just putting a heat cycle through one set of tyres, and then they will just pound around on the second set. I'm told that the Pirellis around here are good for maybe 5 consecutive push laps. And so I think that's what most of the runners are going to end up doing. Just bed in one set of tyres, put a heat cycle through them in this qualifying session, and then you end up getting the good lap on the second set of tyres. You see Levente Revesh with a sticker set on there, as they say in the States. sticker set of Pirellis. Same for Francesco Simonazzi, who's just fresh off the back of his LMP3 race debut in the European Endurance Prototype Cup in Mugello last weekend. Obviously, back aboard single-seater machinery now, because of course it's not just the next generation of Formula One stars that this championship has produced. Speaking of which, Jack Doohan joining Yuki Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz Jr. as Euroformula alumni who will be on the 2025 Formula One grid, but it's also the next generation of sports car and prototype stars as well. You know, we were talking about Vladislav Lonko in the GT Open qualifying session that we just had as well, and of course plenty of other drivers have seen a lot of success in LMP2 as well, and potentially even in the top class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans sometime soon, as Ed Pearson there, the 17-year-old Brit, makes his way back out onto track for his first Euroformula Open qualifying session. Yeah,
the 17-year-old from Guildford in the United Kingdom comes in after a run in Ginetta Juniors in 2021, and also taking part in British F4. GB3 has been his most recent stint, but now arrives on the Euroformula Open circuit. We'll have to wait and see what he can do. Obviously, practice for him didn't go too badly at all. In fact, in the opening session, finished just in behind Brad Benavides. Looked relatively strong as well, so already well adept to the Dallara 320 as we watch Benavides, our championship leader, climb the hill up through Remus Corner at turn 3, and will then beckon his way down through towards turn 4 at Slosh Gold. Obviously, Benavides, the Floridian, who has been in such dominant form throughout the course of this championship. Victories at Portimao, Hockenheim, Spa-Francorchamps, where he took 2, and not only that, taking victory at Hungaroring in race 1, following that up with a win at Paul Ricard. But in between, a sprinkling of podiums to coincide that has led to this 321 points advantage up at the top, with 230 going the way of Simonazzi just in behind. It's going to be an almighty job for Simonazzi to try and close that gap, but nonetheless, we still have plenty of races in between now and the end of the
And if we remember last year at Monza, we had races that went right down to the wire, dragged to the finish line. So that could be a very dramatic end to the championship, as we see Benavides open up another lap here. 11 and a half minutes, sorry, left on the clock. And although Benavides has really been sweeping things up in the championship, he hasn't necessarily been the best in qualifying. He's had 2 pole positions so far this year out of our 5 qualifying sessions that we've had. The other 2 of them also going to his nearest title rival, Francesco Simonazzi. And the third other driver who managed to get pole position, was it Gerard G in Spa? No, it wasn't.
Michael Shin at Hungary.
Yes, it was. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, yeah, it's truly fascinating to see, obviously, those 2 tying up at the top. Still quite a ways off Sandy Stuvic's record of 13 poles that he managed to nestle in during the course of his time in the Euroformula Open Championship. And if we want to talk most wins, obviously Ollie Goethe, we were talking about him almost making it in 2022, still held by Felipe Drugovich, the Brazilian, holding on to 15 wins in the Euroformula Open Championship. And records that still stand to this day.
And actually, we're talking to Michael Shin. He's back this weekend as well in the number 23. So the South Korean who won in his debut weekend in Hockenheim. Back in the car, the 19-year-old, oh, actually 20-year-old, sorry, just turned 20 a couple of weeks ago. The former GB3 racer as well. So they're rather flooding in here, aren't they, at the Euroformula Open, as we see Paolo Brajnik, the Gold Cup driver. That's for drivers aged 35 and older. That's a gentleman class in this championship. He's back for this weekend with the NV Racing team, the former Superbike champion, of course, who ended up with quite a bit of work to do in Paul Ricard when he got reverse grid pole and had cars passing him left, right, centre at the same time at times.
It was a tricky one for Paolo Brajnik, but great to see him back here as well. Obviously competing in the F3 Central European Zone not too long ago, and F2000 Italian trophy alike, so has had plenty of time racing in the single-seaters, and only did it just to avoid the many broken bones he has sustained while racing two-wheelers. So he thought, yeah, I think 4 might be better, which I'm sure, as far as an IQ move is concerned, that is probably a high one.
This is how much they're teasing us at the moment. We're over halfway through this session. We still haven't seen a proper push lap out there yet. So 1:24.3 was Benavides' benchmark time from free practice 2. Current fastest time, 27.6. So they are really, really eking out these tyres at the moment, aren't they? They're going to leave it right to the end. And I wouldn't have thought, maybe this is just an issue of getting them up to temperature, because it's pretty cold out there. It was 11 degrees on the track earlier.
Well, it was 5 degrees in free practice in many ways. I mean, I'm not saying it was 5 degrees throughout the entirety of free practice, but yeah, there could be a level of tyre management concerns. Maybe they just don't want to go for the initial push laps, don't want to go too hard too quickly, but Simonazzi will come across the line anyway, goes third fastest. Brajnik still on top at the moment with his 1:27.155. Still waiting for that first representative run. Levente Ravesh has just gone purple in the middle sector with a 38.777, which is around 1 3 tenths faster than Paolo Brajnik, with Edward Pearson now going fastest of all in the first sector. Here comes now Levente Ravesh, who put in a personal best. Purple second and third sectors, goes fastest here with a 1:26.024, but all eyes on Simonazzi, and not to mention Edward Pearson, who's just come out of the second sector, 38.273 in that second sector. Will look to come across the line and go a little faster. He's had that second sector time though, the purple one taken away from him. Pearson goes to the top, but Benavides has just stolen the purple mid. Here comes Simonazzi.
So Ravesh had that lap time deleted. Pearson to the front, Shin second. Right, 24.8. That's a bit more like it. We're still a little way off of the ultimate pace, but we're getting there. We're into the 24s now, as Benavides goes fastest, 24.5 now for the Floridian. 3 tenths clear of Ed Pearson. Michael Shin still in the 26s with that last lap. So let's see what Simonazzi's doing. Half a second down in the middle sector. So there's not going to be an absolutely barnstorming lap from the Italian. 25.4 in the end there. So still plenty to come from that BVM Racing car. As Pearson is fastest in the first sector, but big lockup for Brad Benavides. They're going into the hairpin at turn 3 and runs right off the circuit. And here, is this why Ravesh had track limits? Oh, dipped it in the gravel on the exit. Oh, no, this is not track limits at all. He's really found the gravel trap there. Now, there's a little access road on the left-hand side there, Levente. Just pop on that, and you'll be on your way.
Yeah, He's on a mission far away, is Levente Ravesh, but back out on track nonetheless. 8th fastest at this stage, 1:30.601. Still some work to do. Purple sector's flying up again because Simonazzi's just found the first one. We've got Pearson, who's managed to register the second purple sector. So the man in car 95 looking to try and topple as he now does so. Goes fastest with a 1:24.343. That is 200ths quicker than Jose Garfias in second place now, and he's just gone purple in the first sector.
So our 2 rookies are leading out there at the moment. That's great stuff. And we are now just a couple of hundreds away from the benchmark of Benavides from free practice. So they are now starting to push. And as you say, Garfias going fastest in the first sector. There's a much better lap from Simonazzi now, this one. Good first sector, decent middle sector as well. Let's see when he gets across the line. Third fastest, only 82 thousandths of a second away, and that's what covers the top 3 as it stands between our 2 rookies and Simonazzi. But look at Garfias here, really pushing that middle sector, half a second up from the Mexican.
Yeah, and I must say, he dipped that rear section. The rear tyre is very nearly going into the gravel. He is whipping this car around and looking to extract everything he can out of this final sector this time around. Coming through turn 10, over very nearly 5 tenths up already in that middle sector. He might go even higher than that. Coming out of sector 3, comes up towards the line. He will.
Whoa.
Goes fastest by over 7.5, very nearly 7 3/4 tenths. And Timo Rovkal saying that was good.
3/4 of a second. Are we sure Noel Leon hasn't just popped in under a different name, a slightly different license for this weekend? That's astonishing speed. And Pearson bridging the gap somewhat, but still 4 tenths of a second away from Garfias. So still our 2 rookies out there that are This has been a big adjustment. Like, everyone says it's a really lovely car to drive. They thought that meant it would be easy to drive, but it's not. It's very technical, especially in the low-speed corners. You've got those skinny little tyres. You really have to drag the mist out of them. So Simonazzi here goes 4th fastest. So just moves ahead of Michael Shin there. Benavidez has gone 2nd fastest while we were watching that, so it's 3 and a bit tenths now to Garfias, but he's still looking very much in command out there. Did not improve in the middle sector. Let's see what Garfias has at the end. Here he comes. It's the blue helmets there. I know a lot of these cars look very, very similar. So the 99 there with the black roll hoop and the blue helmet of Jose Garfias. And then I think Ed Pearson has got the blue roll hoop on his car. Let's see as Garfias just misses out in the end there. But now Benavidez setting the pace in the 1st sector.
Yeah, nothing flaky about this 99. I tell you what, Jose Garfias is on it. A 1:23.571 and clear by just under 0.4 of a second. Brad Benavidez needs to try and find something in Sector 3.
That was the best one this year, George. So clip that, that's going on the show reel. So Benavidez losing some time in the middle sector there. Let's see what he's got right at the end of the lap. I mean, he's still 0.3 of a second away from Garfias' time, and he does improve, but not by much, only a few hundredths in the end, so 0.338 now after a personal best in the final sector, and really slowing up at turn 1, so either that's a big cool down, or he might be done, as again Garfias is finding time in the 1st sector.
He's having fun out there with Garfias.
Yeah.
4 thousandths better off in the 1st sector. He's lost a little bit of time in Sector 2, but the pace has been unmatched here so far in the closing stages, and he's clear, well clear of Benavidez right now. And Benavidez is going to have to find something in the very last lap of this actual qualifying session, because we're coming into the final 2 minutes. So Garfias will have a chance to go again. I think may have even planned to cool the tyres on that previous lap just to set one more fast run alight. A little bit off, though, coming out of the 3rd sector, Garfias. Let's see what he can do in this final run. The time is still ticking, 1:55. In fact, they might get another 2 runs out of this. Ravesh also enlisting personal improvements, so 21.957, 37.785 out of Sector 2. He comes up towards the line as well. Let's see where the Hungarian goes. 5th place, just ahead of Fernando Barrichello and Michael Shin and Paolo Brajnik, who is now at the tail of the field.
Jose Garfias has done 23.5, 23.6, 23.6. He's just lapping so consistently. It's not just fast, it's consistent as well. That's the astonishing thing about it.
Which bodes well for race trim as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, assuming it stays dry. We don't know what these guys are like in the
Well, we know there's nothing consistent when it comes to wet weather.
Well, that's also very true, especially here. Right, so this is Garfias. Now, this is that is a track limits violation there. When you see those left-hand side tyres dip over the crest of the sausage curb that runs on the exit of the Lauda curve at turn 1, that is track limits. And then obviously the last 2 corners as well, where the white line is being considered. It's very much the case at turn 1 as well, but the curb there on the left-hand side actually makes it a much more identifiable breach, as we see Levente Ravesh trying to improve his time, only 5th fastest as it stands. But, you know, the interesting thing about Garfias, he's another one of the drivers that came up through the NACAM F4, like Noel Leon did, the North and Central American Formula 4 Championship, before coming over to Britain to race, and now racing in Europe. Simonazzi now lighting up the 1st sector now, as the BVM racing driver saved the best till last. Less than 10 seconds left on the clock. He's lost time in the middle sector, so this isn't going to haul him up the order. It might still be an improvement overall for Simonazzi, might put him on the head of the 2nd row of the grid. But let's see, through these last 2 corners, fantastic in one of these cars, one of the last contemporary single-seaters, less than 600 kilograms with the driver in it. It was an improvement by 1,000th of a second.
Yeah, 4th fastest. Yeah.
0.508 rather than 0.509.
Brad Benavides also coming across the line. Goes Garfias once again improved in the first sector, but lost time also in the second sector, but not as much as what Simonazzi had lost in that middle sector. So you never know. Garfias might be able to find something in this final sector that could yet go faster again. But running wide through the out of Rint corner, down through towards turn 10. That's less than ideal. He'll come across the line anyway, take the checkered flag. And on debut here in the Euroformula Open Championship, Garfias taking pole position ahead of racing this afternoon.
So I think that's Paul Woodhams there, his engineer, GB3 engineer with High-Tech, who is his engineer at Motorpark for this weekend, just saying, well done, you've stuck it P1 in your first ever qualifying session. Whoa, Revesh right at the end of the session there, going second fastest. Oh, Benavides in the end. So our timing screen taking a little bit of time to update by the looks of it. And now, well, those times ended up being deleted anyway. So Revesh still in 6th, actually. So ignore my surprise from about 10 seconds ago, because those times have been deleted. It's Garfias, Brad Benavides and Ed Pearson. Championship leader sandwiched by 2 rookies.
Yeah, it's tough going, but a great start for Edward Pearson as well, coming into this championship for the first time, and
absolutely
within the 4.5 tenths of a second. Let's take you through the results of qualifying, folks. Jose Garfias on top and on pole ahead of our race this afternoon. Brad Benavides joins him on the front row in second place. Edward Pearson also on debut, third fastest ahead of Francesco Simonazzi, who'll join him on the same row in fourth. Michael Shin in fifth, with Levente Revesh in sixth. Fernando Barrichello in seventh. Paolo Brajnik rounding out the runners in 8th place, but they had no answer for Jose Garfias. A great start to proceedings here at Red Bull Ring for him. The Mexican hitting the heights on top and in control. The big question is, can he take it from pole to victory? He'll have every chance to, I'm sure. Coming into Parc Ferme now, into the pit lane, where no doubt he's going to be absolutely thrilled.
So in 2022, Jose Garfias did not race. They ran out of money, and luckily managed to find a sponsor at the end of the year to do some testing, and before then finding a full-time seat in the Euro Cup 3 Championship last year. But it's sad to think that, you know, the funding could stop what is obviously a raw talent. You don't just hop into a new car like this, that is completely different. So I know it's a Formula 3 level car like some of the other series, but the Tartus and Dallara chassis are so different. And he's hopped into this, stuck it on pole position, beaten the form men of the year. And yeah, that's really quite impressive.
When you look at it,
Jose.
When you look at it, I mean, Brad Benavides, someone who has not been off the podium in any race bar one, of course, that being at Hockenheim Ring in race 3, and of course, is a seasoned campaigner in the Dallara 320 chassis. Jose Garfias coming in, obviously, has taken part in various different championships, Euro Cup 3, for example, but of course, coming into a car like this is very different to any other championship you'd race in. And, you know, this is something where he can really unlock his raw talent and ability. He's at this stage still very young, only 19 years of age, from San Luis Potosí in Mexico. But let's take you through those top 3. Edward Pearson in third, a great start as far as his Euroformula campaign's concerned, and a stellar showing. P2 for Brad Benavides, the Floridian, of course, championship leader, will be starting on the front row alongside the man who would take pole, Jose Garfias. A great job, and he is going to be joining us now down with Alfredo.
Jose Garfias, pole position at Red Bull. Just arrived in the Euroformula Open, and it's already pole position.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy of how I got along with the team very fast, very soon. The team has been doing a wonderful job. I think they're mega all the way. The whole way they organize and do things here is really, really good. The car was mega throughout qualifying. Really happy with the lap, and just I'm really happy and really pleased to be in P1 since the first qualifying.
And you can put the cap, so we are in the rules. You told me yesterday that you love the car.
Yeah, the car is mega to drive. I mean, it's by far the best car I've ever driven. The power to weight ratio is amazing. The downforce is amazing, and especially around this track is really, really, really nice to drive.
Conditions here are almost wintry, but how you see things for this afternoon?
I don't know. Hopefully we get a dry race to really get the experience of the car during the long run in the dry. But we'll see. I think it might be a bit wet. So yeah, we'll just have to make the most of it.
For now, well done. Vamos.
Thank you very much.
Well, he could do it in qualifying. Let's see if he can do it in the race. Be sure to join us this afternoon, folks. Racing coming in at 4:05 local time. We'll see you then. Goodbye.